Welcome to the podcast. In this podcast, we're going to talk about the 10 things men do to destroy their lives. We're going to go through rapid fire on this one today. It's a short one, and this is for you if you need to make some big shifts in this area. So, Pete, number one.
Number one is men delude themselves into thinking that life is easy and that we should be happy all of the time. It is a delusion. It is this thing in our head that, no, we have to have this happiness, and when we get the thing, we're going to be happy. That is just not true. Most of our thoughts that go on in our head are negative. It's something mental, like 90% of our thoughts that go on in our head are negative, and 90% of those thoughts are repetitive and from the day before, right? So there's this negative loop. So to have this idea that we're going to be happy all the time is complete delusional shit.
Nice. I think one of the biggest things that men do to destroy their lives is that they create their future from the past. And it's like the way that they'll say that is that it's not like me too. I've never, I can't. And what they do is they don't see their life as a creation. They see it as a reaction from their past. They see the limitations of their future through all of the ways that they've shown up in the past. And a big part is that if they can let that go, they make exponential growth. They change so much, but they are destroying their lives just seeing their potential through how they've made mistakes in the past. That's a big one I see for guys.
Yeah. Okay. Number three is men isolate themselves. They might do this purposely in some scenarios where they go into this, like, I'm going to go into this monk mode, or I need time to just get my head down and focus, or they'll do this subconsciously and just like begin to take themselves away from social circles or their partner and not have conversations with their partner. Even changing environments, moving to a different country, moving to the countryside, like changing that can really isolate ourselves as men, and it doesn't do well for our mental health.
Number four is winging it. I think if you want to destroy your life as a man, winging your career, your relationships, your fitness, not having a plan is probably the most detrimental thing you can do, because you're constantly reacting to a mistake you've made or your emotions or something that you've just seen on Instagram or Facebook. Sitting down and having intentional time around creating your life, having goals, creating a vision, making a strategy is imperative for a man to be intentional in the way that he creates his life. And just winging it, you'll look back at your life over the last, say, 5-10 years, like, I didn't get what I wanted, but you never sat down and did the work that was required to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Right, number 5. Men, stop putting others first. You putting others before you just puts yourself down the pecking order. This is actually a form of dislove and disrespect to yourself. This is the thing, is that when you are great as a man, everything around you, your family, your business, your relationships, they will all be great, but it's got to be you first. And like when you start growing as a man, everything around you fucking grows.
Yeah, like that. When you win, everyone wins. Next one is vices. Is seeing vices is something that is normal, that you do, that is socially acceptable, yet they are eroding the most important thing in your life, which is your focus and your attention. Whether it's social media scrolling, whether it's a couple of drinks, pornography, whether it's alcohol, drugs, giving into your vices, whether it's sleeping with people, whether it's texting other women, these vices seemingly are harmless. They are the most harmful thing to your long-term progress, because they take away the very thing that you need to move forward in your life, which is your attention and your focus.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Here's what men need to stop doing, is allowing people, society, or environments demasculate them. Whether that's down to people pleasing, or it's just not saying what they want to say, or it's a lack of courage and it's stepping into their fears. But ultimately, that continued over time, will demasculate them as a man, and then they'll find themselves one day living a very mediocre life.
The one I've got here is actually an interesting one. It's feeding the wolf of hate. And this is actually from this thinking that we have two wolves in our heart, the wolf of love and the wolf of hate. And it's seeing people in around your life, and you hate everything about them. You hate what they do. You judge them. You spend most of your time and attention focusing on what you don't like about the people in your world. And you think that that's going to have detriment to them, but the only person that suffers is you. And I think a lot of men are in that space. They hate so much about their boss, their career, other people to see on social media. And yet it's like giving yourself the poison and hoping someone else is going to die. And if you feed that every single day, no wonder you're in a place where you're judgmental, angry, upset, mad. So if you want to destroy your life, focus on those things about other people. And the big shift you'll make is when you start to focus on what I would call, what did we call it this morning? It was compersion. Yeah, wholehearted participation in the joy and the success of others.
Last one for me. Something a man can do that will destroy his life is not practicing self-discipline. A disciplined man, in my experience, they're typically successful guys. They're doing hard things that they don't necessarily want to do, but it's leading their life to a greater place, right? The more that they take the easier route, the quote-unquote comfortable route, is paradoxically the more uncomfortable that they are in the long term. So practice discipline.
And the final one, the thing that a man can do to destroy his life is have a mindset that it'll never happen to me. And I saw this in fitness. I'm never going to be the one it'll never happen to me. I'll never have a heart attack. I'll never get caught cheating on my wife. I'll never take the drug that has a high dose and kill myself. I'll never be driving too fast and then have an accident in the car. They have this mindset, it'll never happen to me. And it's that one time that it does happen to you. And that is probably one of the most pervasive mindsets, I think, that could destroy not only a man's life, but the life of every single person around him.
Yeah.
So it'll never happen to me.
Yeah, thinking you're never going to die.
Yeah, a destructive mindset. And I think that's one of the biggest things to weed out in your mindset if you want to have a successful life.
Yeah. Team, there are 10 factors that could destroy your life. Where do you need to up your game?